Welcome back to my channel. Today we have a what's for dinner, and these dinners this week were so good and they were pretty healthy and easy. So first we had chicken ranch sheet pan. It's supposed to be chicken bacon ranch, but I didn't know that we ran out of bacon bits. So I cubed up small potatoes into 4, and then I added the cubed up chicken and some sliced onions and then some broccoli, and I poured it over with some olive oil and then added a ranch pack seasoning on top. I love anything flavored ranch, and this did not disappoint. And then I just seasoned it with some salt and pepper also, just to make sure that it was well seasoned. I preheated my oven to 425 and then I put it in for 20 minutes. Then I took it out and I added on some cheese. You can totally omit this step if you don't want the cheese, but it definitely made it really good. And then I put it back in the oven for another 10 minutes. I will link this recipe down below, but it was a favorite of mine and my husband's. The next night we had taco pasta, and this was again so good, and it made a ton of leftovers. I actually still just had it for lunch today, and it got better by the day for sure. It was way better as leftovers, but it was still really good when we ate it the first night. So I just browned up a pound of ground beef and then put in half a box of noodles into boiling water. I used macaroni noodles, and then I used the old toilet or paper towel trick and took out the grease. Then I just seasoned my meat with some salt and pepper. Then I added in a can of tomato sauce for the sauce, as well as a cup of salsa. Thought this was an interesting add into here, but it definitely made it taste really good and taste more like tacos. I just mixed that all around, and then I added the taco seasoning. So it called for 2 tablespoons, and I just measured that out. Well, some fell also, but it was good. Like, the more seasoning the better in my opinion. And then I added the noodles in with it once they were cooked and drained, and added some cheese with it. So I didn't measure my cheese, I just added what I thought was necessary, but you can make it cheesier, you can make it less cheesy. It's totally up to you and how your family likes to eat. And then this night I had to take this to go, so I just put it in one of these meal prep containers. And then I added some French fried onions on top. These are my new obsession. I never really ate them until the past few months, and they just add a really nice oniony crunch on top. So I loved that, and then I've been adding that on with my leftovers every day also, just because it tastes so good. And then I also sliced up some cucumbers for the side and brought that with me. This night we had steak tacos. They're kind of like steak fajitas, I guess, but I use taco seasoning, so I'm going to call them steak tacos. So I sliced up a green and red pepper and an onion also, and then threw them in the crock pot on low. I then added in this, it was called sandwich steak, and it came with these really thin pieces of meat, and they were perfect for this recipe because you want them to be thin like that, and I believe it was $7 for 4 of these, so not even a bad price, or maybe 5, but yeah, it was the perfect meat for that. So I just thinly stripped it, and then I added that in the crock pot as well, along with some beef broth, garlic powder, and taco seasoning. So you could definitely do this with fajita seasoning if you want, but I just had taco seasoning, so that's what I used. And then I added in some Lawry's as well. So I just let that cook for, I think, like 4 to 6 hours. And it cooked really, really nicely. And then I was planning on having a steak taco wrap, but I decided on a steak taco bowl instead, and I did not regret that choice. It was so good. And I have some lettuce here that I'm cutting up, and then I put that on the bottom, and I just really like to put these in a bowl. And then I put on some cheese, and that was the first time that I clued into putting on cheese underneath the meat. Usually I put it on top, and that was a game changer because the cheese melted so nicely and it was so good. And I told my husband this, and he's like, yeah, I always do that. I'm like, oh, well, I didn't know that. So I did the next night too. But yeah, make sure you put your cheese on the bottom. So then I took the steak and the peppers and put them in the bowl, and then a last minute decision was that I used tzatziki sauce, and it was also really good with this. So this dinner was just a win, and it was so easy to make. The last recipe in this video is an old favorite of mine, barbecue chicken sweet potato bowls. So I put 2 frozen chicken breasts in the slow cooker and then seasoned it with salt, pepper, and garlic powder. And then I put in a little bit of chicken broth, and I also put some barbecue sauce on there, and then I turned it on high for 4 hours to cook the chicken. I then cubed up 1 big sweet potato, and then I chopped up some onion as well and put those down on a pan. This was done closer to when we were ready to eat, probably like half an hour before we were ready to eat. And then put some frozen broccoli on the side. I usually like to use fresh, but all we had was frozen. And then I put some olive oil on that. And then some garlic powder, salt, pepper, and then put that in the oven at 425 for around 20-25 minutes, half an hour, just until your sweet potatoes are soft and you can stick a fork through them. So that is how I know, because some ovens are different than others. And then I shredded up the barbecue chicken. I then made my bowl, and I put the sweet potatoes on the bottom along with the onions and the broccoli, and then added my cheese on top of that, and then added chicken, and then I added some more barbecue sauce because you can never have enough Sweet Baby Ray's. And these bowls are definitely my favorite. You get a lot of flavors and different vitamins and protein in here, so it's also a really healthy meal. And I really hope you try some of the recipes and let me know what you think. And thanks for tuning in to another What's for Dinner, and I'll see you next week.